everyone. Welcome back to Heartland Mamas. I'm Marie Briel.
And I'm Heidi Henry, coming to you from our studio at the edge of the Great Red Divide in Marseilles, Illinois. We bring you more sexism.
She shouldn't have said that. Be sure to not just watch, like, subscribe, and share. She shouldn't have said that, but all of our previous casts. And check out our partners, demcastusa.com, where you can catch up on episodes of our shows or find other amazing podcasters. So, as we roll, see, I should have said that. Now, what shouldn't she have said?
Well, what prompted me to think about this, and I've been thinking about this show for a while, was a lot of people attributed Elizabeth Warren losing steam in the polls for her eviscerating first Bernie Sanders for being a dick and for completely annihilating.
Can I take this back into history a little bit, Heidi?
Sure.
Can we go into the Wayback Machine before we get into current times?
Yeah.
If you recall, we are very poll-based. Campaigns make decisions on what is, what they think is polling well, what people want to hear. So after debates, presidential debates, there's all the polling and who got bumps and what people say, and they're going, okay, you were too hard, you were too soft.
Right.
So let's go back in time to Hillary Clinton running against Donald Trump.
Right.
Hillary Clinton, in the first debate, came across strong, confident, and pushed back.
Presidential.
Do you remember what they said? They said that she was too harsh, she dropped in the polls, she was shrill, she was attackish.
Are you kidding me? She was shrill. She was running for president, which is the leader of the free world.
Yeah. Okay. Wait. Let's take one more step as we go. Okay. So she got criticized very heavily. She chose, with that information, to take a different approach for the next debate, which hurt her even more.
Right.
She played the calm, quiet, strong, trying not to look animated, because as a woman, clearly resting bitch face counts against you.
Well, clearly.
And resting bitch face can also be called just straight face.
Or the mom look.
So she
you didn't do that.
She changed her tactic based on what she thought the voters would respond better to, which went down. So she did both sides. And the third debate, I believe she just said, screw you. Now, during that same debate series, we saw Donald Trump make incoherent statements.
Yep.
He accused things loudly and expressively. And not once did we hear that he was shrill or angry or aggressive. No.
Even when he left the podium to walk and stalk behind her, can you imagine if a woman did that?
Yes, that's where I was going, Mahadi.
Hey, if that happened to me on the street, I'd whip up my phone and dial 911. And Hillary, you should have done that.
No, you know what she should have done? She should have stopped.
Kicked his ass?
Turned around and said, excuse me. You step out of my space.
Right. Now, Hillary Clinton won the election, but popular vote.
But the damn Electoral College, which is...
And that was her campaign advisors, I think, that cost her that election, that didn't send her up to the Rust Belt, because really we wouldn't have had the problems we've had if Hillary Clinton...
Well, let's not dissect poor Hillary.
I know.
We're talking about what it is to have...
a double standard?
Right. And here's something else I'd like to point out. That what you just said... I think when you see campaigns that are run by women, when you have women as the directors, as the hierarchy, you see a very different campaign than you do when you see men at the hierarchy.
Do you think that's the perception of how a man thinks a woman should act, or how a woman thinks a woman should act?
I think it's not even that. I think what it is men are so entrenched in the usual routine. This is what works. This is how you win. This is the messaging. They don't take into account the woman's perspective and to use her strengths, where I think women understand better how to reach a variety of voters because they have more empathy, more global awareness.
Well, okay, so jumping ahead here to Elizabeth Warren, she had a woman as her campaign manager who felt that she handled the thing with Bernie exactly right. And as women, we feel she handled it just right. When he threw her under the bus, he went to shake her hand, so she had to play nice after he was mean to her. And she's like, you know what? We're going to have to talk about this first. That's how women address things. They're like, she took him. She didn't eviscerate him as he had eviscerated her earlier. Instead, she made good points about the success of the women on the stage. And then at the end of the debate, when it was over, maybe not even knowing she was on camera, and he's like, oh, let's shake hands. I just threw you under the bus. Congratulate me for doing that. And she's like, you know what? We need to talk. And that's how women handle stuff. You know, she could have done a Bloomberg on him and just eviscerated him, just castrated him in front of national TV. But instead she chose not to. She said, you know, we need to talk about, why did you lie about me?
So Elizabeth Warren was. Oh, let's look at her. Let's look at all the women in the presidential debates. Okay,
Yeah.
Let's talk about how when Kamala Harris went after Joe Biden, she got destroyed, partially because
First she
Joe
got a
is
bump.
this.
She first got a bump.
She did first get a bump, and
Yeah.
then the attack on Joe. That
But she
whatever
kept
it
going
was.
back to that same
Yeah.
attack over and over again, and it just got old. And it's like, Kamala, show me something else.
Great point.
You know?
Amy Klobuchar got a
Yes.
bump when
Yeah.
she went all aggressive.
Right.
Elizabeth Warren got a bump
I'll
when
tell you
she
what,
went all aggressive.
when
But what
Klobuchar-
happened after the pundits started talking about their performances? That pulled them down in the polls. So Americans, we saw this and we were like, hell yeah, I want somebody who's going to fight. We didn't really think about her or the gender of the person. We liked what was said. The media starts talking about how she was too harsh, she was too shrill, she was too aggressive. And all of a sudden, people start to believe it.
It needed, you know, the luckiest thing that happened to Mike Bloomberg in the second debate with Elizabeth Warren is that he wasn't standing right next to her, because when they were standing right next to her, when they were standing next to each other, and she just took him out, whipped off his legs and beat the piss out of him. And I mean, I was like, verbally, but it was her whole body language, because she's dealt with these sexist, misogynist assholes her entire life, and she was having none of it. And in my, you know, for those of us that love strong women, that know that women lead, we know that what she did was exactly what we would have done in the same situation. She was not detoured, she was not afraid, she was bold, she was a leader, and calling him out on the NDAs, on what he has said about women in the past, on his misogyny, on stop and frisk, on all the things. And you know what? Biden and Bernie...
She did Biden and Bernie a favor.
They need to be like sending her flowers and writing her thank you notes, because if she had not taken Bloomberg out, he would have bought the race. So, you know, but she took him out, and man, she took him out bad.
So what shouldn't she have said? She shouldn't have said...
God, if she'd gone soft on him, I would have lost all respect for her.
She shouldn't have said that white men don't understand privilege. She shouldn't have said
Really?
that... No, I'm saying this is what the media says she shouldn't have
know.
said. She shouldn't have called out the inequities. She shouldn't have done that. It should have been handled behind the scenes, quietly, like a good girl. Which leads us to the double standard. So,
Right, because both Bernie and Biden also stepped up and said similar things to Bloomberg, and they were not held accountable. And Bernie, being a complete asshole to her 3 debates before, when she set up by CNN with these horrible questions to get them into a fight, and when Bernie took the bait and pummeled her. And when the question was asked to her, how did you feel when he did that? She said, you know what? We've been friends a long time. Let me tell you about the successes of the women on stage. She could have taken him out then, but they are friends. And she was cognizant of that. But afterwards is when she walked up to him. She refused to shake his hand. She didn't say, don't touch me. She just, because I probably would have done that. She just put her hands in front of her and she said, look, we need to talk about that. But for some reason, especially the Bernie bros, thought that was horrible, disrespectful. What he did to her was disrespectful. He could have pivoted just the way she did when the question was asked during the debate, but instead he chose to go after her because he can't keep it under control. And I want to talk also about his hair. If she
Uh,
went,
uh, uh. Heidi.
no, we got to.
All right, here
We
we
got to
go.
address the double standard, Murray, because if she walked in with her hair all sticking up all over the place and her glasses on
Hey,
sideways,
he's been combing his hair lately.
well, but if
He
she
has been
walked into
combing
the
his
debate,
She would have been
been called a crazy cat
Well,
lady
and you know
and
that
kicked out of the race.
when one of the first women in the European world was elected to prime minister, I can't remember who it was or what country, as she emerged, she got questions about who she was wearing and the style that she had on, as
for God's
opposed to
sake.
questions about what was going on. And this was like 25 years ago. And what
What
I
are you
think is
wearing?
interesting is women, we do this
My
all the
foot
time.
in your ass.
So no, but it was this happens all the time. So
I know.
there's a lot of research that talks about how women use passive words more than they need to. There's this video that shows how often we say, "Excuse me, sorry to interrupt. Sorry to interrupt. Sorry to interrupt."
I see this in grocery stores. I'm pushing my cart along the other day, and women are going, "Oh, excuse me," and men are like, "Wah," right into you. So
No,
you know,
no, I wouldn't say that
Oh,
necessarily.
yeah.
I
Not my
see
husband,
see
but-
politeness on all around or lack of politeness.
you weren't out
But I'm saying,
panic
like,
buying the
if-
other day.
Women who are in office situations, women who are in work situations will
Yeah.
often go into someone's office and say, you know, knock, knock, excuse me. When
Because we're taught to be polite.
same thing as coming into a meeting, etc. There is no reason to do that. Men don't do that.
it.
Men knock and stand and wait to be acknowledged. There's no excuse me. There's no oh pardon me. Oh, may I have a second? There's none of that. And it's not women's fault. That's how we're taught. And it's okay to be like, no, you know what? Knock, knock, mother trucker. Here I am. Answer me. So that standard carries over from every aspect. And Heidi and I have talked about this on multiple episodes that you can find on YouTube at Heartland Mamas, MAMAS.
.com.
Little plug. So we've talked about the inequity and the impression of this for so long. And so it affects every aspect of our life. The media catches on to that and utilizes it, like we saw with Elizabeth Warren, with Amy Klobuchar, with Kamala Harris. They had great bumps from the debates after being aggressive and strong, and the media ripped on them for being aggressive and strong.
It kills me. It just kills me.
And therefore, they started to slide again, and people questioned it.
Would you, honest to God, want a lightweight person talking to Pootie when after Orange Caligula is gone? I want somebody who's going to stand there and just stare him down, just like Obama did. I love that picture of him staring down that little Pootie. But, you know, and I could just picture.
And I think most
Warren,
Americans
you know,
can
standing
too.
there with her arms full of just like, yeah, bring it, buddy.
I'm going to
You know?
say that I think a larger percentage of Americans, you, me, Heidi, voters, don't see things through that same lens as until someone points it out.
Well, and the media will
And
point
the
it out
media-
and drive that point
And
home.
I know we're kind of media, but we're kind of like C-list media, so we really don't count.
Are we even that high?
I'm like totally C-list at this point, man. I don't know. You can help us get to B-list.
Ooh.
It's going to take a while. But
Yeah.
keep us on the C-list by liking, subscribing, and sharing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm really on this like liking, subscribing, sharing kick. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So this all is what women shouldn't do, what they shouldn't say, how we're criticized. Criticized for our hair, criticized
Okay.
for how we look,
And I have a hair
criticized for
situation
how we
today.
dress. Now, I'm not talking about fashion choices, okay? I will say that there are a plethora of both men and women who have no idea how to dress.
Yeah.
And criticizing inappropriate or bizarre
Oh,
outfits is very different from judging based on gender. I just want that noted out there that there are plenty of people who cannot dress themselves in any way. shape, or
well,
form.
you know, as somebody who often falls into that category, I, you know, because I work on a farm. I live on a farm. That's what I do. So t-shirt and jeans, but actually my very favorite outfit is a t-shirt and jean shorts. That's what I wear all the time. And it's usually some, I won't say offensive, but it's usually some a shirt that'll make you think, or it's my farm logo.
And you're an everyday person.
Yeah.
So that's not a big
So
deal.
I don't know
I'm
how to dress
talking
outside
about
of that.
politicians when we
Yeah.
criticize them. So if you're criticizing them based on overall style, that's one thing. Based on gender, that's
Yeah.
a no-no. But this brings us to what she shouldn't have said that.
Well, and we come up, the reason this popped into my head, and I really started thinking about it the other day, is we have a politician who's running for state's attorney in Chicago who was on our friend Ben Jarofsky's show and said the word bullshit when describing, something that had everything to do with the history of her running for office, and saying that, for the body of her work, which is really outstanding, this one little incident has been drilled into the ground and has really become, it's just a bullshit case, and it shouldn't be discussed over and over again. Now, is she in trouble for saying that it's a bullshit case? No, she's in trouble for saying the word bullshit, Marie, and I think that that's just, it's because when it comes down to it, she shouldn't have said that. She shouldn't have sworn. So I Googled. I did some Google, Marie, and I'm going to tell you what happened. Is I
Google
put in
me, Heidi.
Yeah, I typed
Google
in
me.
She shouldn't and she shouldn't have. So besides she shouldn't have said that, it says she shouldn't have gone there. She shouldn't have gone alone. She shouldn't have worn that. She shouldn't have stood there. She should have said no. She should be the first. She shouldn't be the first. She should know how it goes. She shouldn't have run. She should have run. She shouldn't walk alone. She wouldn't have run. She shouldn't have run. She couldn't have run. She should be happy with what she has. There's all these shouldn'ts and shoulds and rules for women, and yet when you Google he shouldn't have or should have, you hardly get anything. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's like so much judgment, and we talk all the time about that whore Madonna complex, because women can either be angels or devils. We can't seem to be both, and or somewhere in between. We get labeled like that all the time. So this woman whose body of work is really quite excellent. She's done a lot of new sentencing guidelines for nonviolent offenders, and we don't live in Chicago or in Cook County, so those things don't affect us directly, but they affect the people there. And the sentencing structures that she has set up has helped poor and disadvantaged and people of color in Chicago exponentially. It's been so helpful.
I've seen Kim Fox in person.
Okay,
I've had the
we're
opportunity
talking
to
about
talk to her.
Yes.
And, you didn't give the name yet, did you?
I didn't say Kim Fox,
all
but
right,
I'm talking
Kim
about
Fox
Kim Fox.
Has my 100% support.
Yes,
for
mine too. Because she's smart.
She's amazing. She's
And she's
intelligent.
tough.
She's hardworking. And she is held to a double standard.
She is, because, she's
Bullshit.
She's
So like Heidi just said, you Google, right? You
Yeah.
Google she shouldn't.
yeah.
And all of this comes up, what she shouldn't do. Google he shouldn't and see how little comes up.
Because he's
So-
got carte blanche to do whatever he damn well pleases. And she can't say the word bullshit.
Of
And the
course
fact
not,
that
Heidi. She can't say bullshit because
D-class celebrity wants to elevate his star power. I'd never even heard of him before.
this guy's a turd.
And his name is Jussie Smollett. And so he makes
Oh,
up
not
this,
that guy. I thought you were talking about the guy running against Kim.
Oh,
Sorry.
he's a complete ass too. I mean, talk about your industrial poor complex.
So
people.
not making any comment on Jussie Smollett. Please know that.
Well, no, but he's like a D-list celebrity.
He is.
And
True story.
He was about to lose his job, so he made up a fake hate crime on the coldest day on record in Chicago.
So he's not very
at
smart.
2:00 in the morning in a very blue city on his way to get a sandwich. And it's like, it was just so stupid. As soon as it came out, I'm like, oh, this isn't real. This can't be real. I mean, if you wore a MAGA hat in Chicago, you'd probably get beat up to begin with. So why would you be walking around at 2:00 in the morning when it's 20 below zero without your parka on? Because we know that's how you do it in Chicago. It's how we do it out here in the middle of the state. 20 below, we're bundled up. We're not wearing a stupid baseball cap. For God's sake, Jussie, you should have done better. But you coming out and throwing Kim Fox under the bus because you're a man and you think you can get away with it. Oh, Marie almost said a bad word.
It's my job to say the bad words today.
Well,
so.
it was the F-bomb.
Whisper it
F
in my
you,
ear
Jussie.
and I'll say it.
It's not.
It rhymes with duck and muck and huck, and it begins with an F.
And he should, I mean, really, F you, Jussie Smollett, for throwing a woman under the bus because she was there. Just like Bernie picked up Elizabeth Warren and threw her under the bus and expected her to make nice. F you. Come on.
Yeah, we don't have
Double
to play
standard.
nice. Ladies, we don't have to play nice.
Yeah.
And I want to stand corrected right there. Men and women both should be nice.
Yes.
Should be good human beings.
Decency.
Should want to work toward a better life for themselves and their family, and
Right.
hopefully others as well.
And knocking
That's
on
all
a
I'm
door and saying,
saying.
excuse me, goes for men and women because it's polite.
Here's what we need to do is start looking at it from yes, no, from civility without that secondary layer of judgment that comes from male, female, she shouldn't,
Good
she
idea,
did, she shouldn't.
bad idea. My kids will understand that because when they would want to do something and I'd look at them and say, good idea, bad idea. And then they'd go, ooh, maybe I should rethink that. I had 2 children 8 years apart, so I had time to just play around with it, you know?
So
There's no
teaching our
pressure.
kids to be a good human being,
Yeah.
and then us staying good human beings is one thing. So male, female, I'm sorry, excuse me, pardon me, may I, are all wonderful things to do. But stop doing it if you're feeling subservient to those around you.
Well,
Stop doing it
yeah.
because you're the delicate flower expected to do that.
If you go out in a...
I watch as these amazing women.
Wait, I got to do this. Excuse me.
Yeah, right. So I watch these amazing women who are advocates, who are
my gosh.
campaign managers, who are candidates, who are businesswomen, who are accountants and teachers. I watch these women change in the presence of men. I watch, and hey,
Oh, I
girls,
rolled my eyes so hard you couldn't
No,
hear
no,
that in
no.
the other room.
I give them mad props because they're playing the system that exists.
They're playing the game.
And they have to. They have to be like, raise their voice a tiny bit, tip their head a little in order to have that extra edge. Good for you. Use it. But it sucks that it even has to be there.
I'm rolling my eyes
It
again.
sucks that as a woman, there are times that you just want to go in as a mama bear and blow up
Yep.
whoever the hell is in front of
Yes.
you. But
It's
you
me.
know that if you go in and blow up whoever the hell is in front of you, you'll be considered hysterical, illogical, angry,
Yeah.
hostile. Now, if my husband comes in with me, if
Right.
something's going on with
Right.
the kids,
Yeah.
and he is forceful like this is bullshit,
Yeah.
they have a different reaction. We need to stop assuming that a guy is okay to go, well, this is some bullshit. I don't think that you should be doing this, blah, blah, blah. And I go in and go, this is bullshit. We should not be doing this. Which one of us sounds hysterical?
You know what? I just went through this with
My husband clearly would in that case.
Well, and the thing is my husband will say, you know, don't pull this on Heidi because it won't go well for you. Because he is such a kind and gentle person, and that's why he married me. So he didn't have to ever talk again, and so he didn't have to kick anybody's ass because he knew I would do it.
Right, and Steve's the
You
same
mess with
way.
my stand, and I'm after you. You know.
But it is funny
So-
because when my husband goes to IEP meetings or 504s or anything related to the kids, you get a different interaction, and
Yeah.
he can react very differently. So it's too bad that we have to play that game. When you're an ass-kicking mom who's like, screw that, you have to go in like, okay, I know that there are some issues and I'd like to work on them.
Because if you go in there and say
Like,
you're not
this
going
is
to do that to my
bullshit.
kid,
Right. A guy can
Yeah.
do it and a mom can't. Same thing in business. Same thing in politics. The
Same thing
double
when you're
standard that
grocery
women are
shopping.
held to is batshit.
I'm telling you, women, as you're now we're under this quarantine thing, but when it's over, and it'll be over, you know, this won't last forever. But when it's over and you're pushing your grocery cart down the aisle, or if you're walking down the street, I want you to pay attention to when men are coming toward you, and see if you feel the need to get out of their way. You're both owning the same space. So this is a little social experiment I do. I just watch
Very
and see.
interesting.
Yeah. And since somebody else brought that up, I don't know where I got that from, but it was not an original Heidi thought. But since it happened, some days, especially if I have extra time, I just play let's play chicken. Guess who's not moving? This one. Guess who's not saying excuse me or I'm sorry? This one. So unless you're a mommy with a little baby in the cart coming towards me, I'm getting out of your way because I've been there. And but you great big guy with a cartload of beer, if you think I'm getting out of your way with my greens and stuff that I've got in my cart, nope, not happening. So
we think that it's
oh,
just
Marie,
ridiculous.
The state of Illinois probably dodged a big one when they did elect me a senator. What? You mean you're not going to pass my bill? F you!
Maybe a little, maybe just a smidge, but maybe not. Maybe
doesn't work and play well with others.
Right.
Yes, I really do, and I'm good at compromising.
And she's great, and she's
but
logical.
I cannot stand misogyny, and I cannot.
And you can't stand bullshit.
I can't stand bullshit. It just drives me nuts. It's like in the pussyfooting around that you talked before with people who are running campaigns. It's like I have no patience for that. Putting on ears. Excuse me, I want to know if I can borrow your stapler. We've had staplers come up in a couple of shows now. Anyway.
Swing Line, if you're listening, we'd gladly take a sponsorship and feature your stapler at Heartland Mamas, MAMAS.com. This one's all about promos for me. I don't know why.
Well, but
because we're women, so we don't get as big of a voice. And the more you share and like, the better able we are to let that voice be heard.
And, but what my point being is that when you have to change, I know, but when you have to put on an effect.
Yeah, in order to get something, in order to fulfill a stereotype.
What am I, 20? Stop it.
Why do we even have to think about those stereotypes anymore? It's frustrating. And if you do it because it works, I don't blame you. Take advantage of what we can, but one day it will be nice not to have to play into those stereotypes. And media, knock it the F off, okay? Yeah. I am so sick of news channels and 24-hour news and mainstream media. Come on, man.
Come on.
You know that you're shaping people's opinions.
You're the reason that we aren't going to have a woman president this time around. You are the reason. And it's because of that double standard. And I've had it.
Chicago, don't let stupid, evil Bill Conway convince you that Kim Fox saying bullshit is a bad thing, okay? Don't let the media convince
it like
you.
She sees it.
Don't let the ads convince you. She's tough. She's strong. She's smart. She's done a great job. And we need to tell Bill Conway, bullshit.
Yeah, bullshit. You and your industrial war complex, you go on home now.
All right.
We don't need you.
Well, thanks so much for tuning in to today's episode. We are found at Demcast USA, anywhere you get your favorite podcasts, and at Heartland Mamas.
MAMAS.com. Tune in, like, download, share,
subscribe.
Follow. Bye-bye now.
See you next time.